Hello and welcome to the live stream live. I am your host, Joshua Schubart, and I hope you are having a beautiful Monday evening, afternoon, morning, or whatever time it is, wherever you are watching. If you are watching the replay, hey, thanks so much for watching the replay. If you are hearing this on the audio podcast only, thanks for listening. You are hearing something from the past, and I know that's probably weird. Some things might be really topical or have already happened, so that's okay. As usual, we are live on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. If you have comments or questions, I will answer them as long as they are not weird or overly sexual, as per usual. So let's jump right in. I have an amazing person on that I can't wait for you to meet. Her name is Summer Dawn Wallace. She is a very old friend of mine. We actually went to graduate school together many moons ago, and we became very good friends. And I will introduce you to her soon. As usual, we're gonna do what I am watching, what I'm reading, and what I'm feeling. As for what I'm reading, I'm still on the same book. I've got two young kids, so it takes me a bit longer to make it through a whole ass novel, but I'm still reading Battlegrounds, which is a novel of the Dresden Files, which is a long series of serialized novels that is about a crime-solving wizard. And if you think that is cool, you should totally check it out. It is so much fun. It's more than what it kind of seems. And I love them, so I'm going to keep reading them. There's like 30 of them in the series, and they keep being made, so very, very excited. So have any of you seen Sinners yet? Like, I know it's been out for a few weeks, and I went and I watched it again a few days ago. It is one of the best things that I have seen in a very long time. It may very well be one of the best films I've seen ever. And I know that that's a lot to say, but it is layered. It is amazing. The performances are just stellar. I'm big into horror, so that may be why I like it so much. I mean, like, I love a good vampire flick. But what's great about Sinners is that it's almost like it's two movies in one, because we don't, especially in the American cinema, in the American zeitgeist as a whole, we don't really get to see a lot about African American culture, like, at all, really. And this, like especially in the past, like especially when it's been in like Jim Crow times and things of that nature. And this movie takes place during the in Mississippi during the Jim Crow times, and the Michael B. Jordan characters come back after being in the war and then moving to Chicago and working for Al Capone, and they want to open a like juke joint for Black people, owned by Black people, but there's still a lot of the Klan down there, and them not navigating that. But what I found the most interesting about it was Ryan Coogler wrote about this bard type person, this like epic musician that comes along like multi-generationally, maybe once every couple of generations, that transcends time and space, that can propel people into their ancestry and into the future, and like how it is both magical and spiritual, and really sucks a community together. And while it is incredibly powerful and beautiful and wonderful, these type of people can also attract horrible darkness, which is where in this case that's what happens. This young man is one of these bards, or like one of these reliquaries of ancestral time, and it pulls in a bunch of vampires that want him because they know what he is, and they want to add him to the brood so that they can see the people that they've lost. Um, and it was a very interesting dynamic, because the vampires were like anti-racist and like anti-colonial. They were Irish. They were people that were colonized and oppressed, so they were actively looking for community. And it was interesting to see Ryan Coogler draw parallels to just how everything is everything, and we're all connected in one way or the other, and that even it wasn't like bad guy with a backstory, like, like we can't have any bad guys anymore because these people were fucking awful, and there was no pulling any punches. There was justifications for why they were doing what they were doing, but it wasn't ever like, oh, I, the audience member, now feels like they're totally justified, because they're fucking not. They're doing psychotic shit and murdering people and killing entire families. So it wasn't like that. It was just interesting where it blurred the lines, but not in a way that was like, like it wasn't like Cruella, where it was like she's an anti-hero now, and then where do we get to the point where she's like murdering puppies to make a coat, right? Like, when does she become that? There was none of that. So, and it was just beautiful. It was, just see it. Like, if you haven't seen this movie, it's like movie of the year. Like, it's probably going to win a bunch of awards. And it's original IP. Ryan Coogler wrote it, and he fucking directed it, and he made a insane, crazy deal that has the entire industry freaking the fuck out. His rights revert back to him after 25 years, and the studios have been trying to kill this movie in the fucking trades, because they're terrified that if this movie does well, which it is, it's doing fucking spectacularly, that this deal is going to just become commonplace, and it should. Rights should revert back to the people who created the thing. And they should be able to make money off of their thing 25 years after you make money off of their thing. That's what I believe. So it's a very like artist and creator focused deal, and I hope that we see more of them, and that this movie just does even better than it is now, just so that people can ask for these types of deals. Yeah, so that's my long ass thing about Sinners. And that's also kind of how I'm feeling too. I mean, sure, there's stuff in the world. I talk about this every week about how our country is just feeling more weird and more pulled back and not inclusive and scary. And that's just going to keep happening. Much of it seems to be smokescreen to get other things to happen, but then there are some other really big things that have recently happened, specifically in the arts. So the National Endowment of the Arts, they just pulled all of their funding to all the spaces and all the theaters and literally everything that they were giving grants to. They just revoked all of the money because they don't align with the current administration's ideas for what art should look like in our country. And I think that should be an alarm bell for a lot of people, because artists are some of the people that get come for first, to try and shape the cultural conversation, the cultural picture, how things look, how things sound, and what types of stories are being told. And in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinions, there is nothing more American than a multi-faceted, varied, multicultural story selection, because that's what our country is built on. To try and take that away or change it or cover it up or rewrite history to erase people that are perceived as other or that are different is very scary and incredibly troubling, and we should be screaming at all of our elected officials, writing them emails, calling their offices, texting them, going on their stupid Twitter pages and screaming at them, because that's what we can do. That's what we can do right now, and we should keep doing it. We should fight for the things that we are passionate about and that we know are correct, I think. But yeah, so that's what I'm feeling. And with the arts coming under attack, it's extremely troubling for me, who is an arts worker, and for people that I know who are arts workers. Yeah. And then with the TV and film industry, with John Voight's plan, with Trump saying he's going to do 100% tariffs on movie shot outside the country, there's a lot of stuff up in the air. I mean, my union just co-sponsored a letter. So SAG-AFTRA wrote a letter with the Writers Guild and the Producers Guild and the Hollywood Producers Alliance, which represents all the major studios. John Voight put his name on it. So did Sylvester Stallone, asking for more robust tax credits from the federal government to keep stuff shooting in America. I think that's great. I think that specifically is great, to incentivize and reward versus punish and destroy, in my opinion, is the way to go. It's the way to make things actually better. Incentives and happiness. Yeah. So let's see what happens. We're in a constant state of let's see what happens, but let's see what the fuck happens, and try not to react before we need to. Don't like expend all of our energy into the wrong thing, and really focus up when we need to. Yeah. All right. So let me talk a little bit about Summer Dawn Wallace. We first met in 2010, I think, or the end of 2009, when we were both about to attend the Asolo Conservatory for actor training in Sarasota, Florida. We connected right away. She is an incredible person, very kind, but also extremely hardworking, a total badass, can handle multiple things at once, can organize your entire life and hers and a total and an entire institutions. I mean, she is the producing artistic director of the Urbanite Theater, which is a specialized black box theater that she founded, and it's been doing exceptionally well. Their focus is on new works from all kinds of people, and the work that they have made is not only critically acclaimed but also explosively wonderful. I have had the privilege of seeing some of the work done there, and I kind of selfishly hope that I can one day work there with her. But but here she is. Please welcome Summer Dawn Wallace. Hey.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. Listening to you talk about me, that was very kind.
Oh, well, it's very true. It's very true. So thanks for coming on the show. I know you're
having me.
Really
I poured
busy.
a glass of wine. I apologize,
No,
but
don't
after
apologize.
After a long day, I needed it very much.
You should drink as much as you like.
I don't drink a lot, everybody, but it was a long day.
So, not that you don't anymore, but you started your career primarily acting focused. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
like and you were born in Tennessee, right?
So I was actually born in Wyoming, Beaver Rim Highway. But no, I primarily grew up in Tennessee, in a small town called Crossville, which is between Knoxville and Nashville, hence Crossville. I say Dolly Parton country, which is a slight lie because it's technically just like right before Dolly Parton country, but at least
Sure.
that gives the area of the state.
Where is her theme park though?
Pigeon Forge.
Pigeon Forge. Okay.
The best theme park that exists.
I haven't been.
Well, you're missing out. Missing out. Great shows, great rides, great atmosphere, great food. Anyways,
I want to go.
It's great. So I grew up on. So there's really nothing in my small town except for there is a regional theater there. It's one of the largest, I guess, at one point in time, regional theaters in Appalachia. But it was founded by this family called the Crabtrees. They wanted to start a family, and it was Paul and Mary Crabtree, and Paul, screenwriter, films, LA, Mary, who'd been on Broadway, like, they were theater people. And so he had written a play called The Perils of Pinocchio. And so the town like put it on, they did it at like the local high school. And, this is back when, there was no iPhones, no things, no like major television programming. And so in this small town, there really wasn't anything arts at all. And so of course the town was like, oh my God, this is amazing. How do we keep you here? How do we keep doing this? And so they were like, you need to build a theater. So the town did. So they built this theater, and then the theater kept growing, and, they would bring in all of their star power, from their networks. And so, and then they would use, young actors and whatnot, actors from the community. They have a huge dance program. So
that's cool.
So my girlfriend, Alyssa, and her family were really, really involved. So this is a long story, but when I was 10, she dragged me to Peter Pan auditions. And so I sang Stupid Cupid, and then the rest was history. So I grew up on the stage there. And so, yes, primarily my background was acting. And that is still my first passion, my first love. But now that I've kind of moved over into kind of wearing my directing hat and producing hat, it's just really hard to fit in. So I get to do it every once in a while, not as much as I would like. It's just it's a longer commitment.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you direct multiple things a year at Urbanite, right?
I do, and then here and there I can do stuff in the community, but it's my first priority is making sure that the theater is going strong and all of that.
Of course, yeah. Well, because it's yours, so you want to make sure that it doesn't fold up. That
exactly. But no, acting will always be my first love. Anytime I get a chance to act, it's always such a joy. I did a show at Urbanite this past fall, which was the first time I'd done anything at Urbanite in about 6 years. And then I was in a musical theater workshop over the summer. I got to play Calamity Jane. That was really fun. Nice. in a new musical. So every once in a while I get to wear that hat. Just enough where I don't go crazy.
How do you feel it's helped you with all of the other hats that you wear? I mean, you wear quite a number of hats. I mean, you are also an intimacy coordinator. You're you're an acting teacher at our old school, and like other places. You have like fundraising events where you ask people for large amounts of money to keep the theater open. You do a lot of things. And usually an actor isn't good at a lot of these things. So how did you get there?
That's a great question. I've always been a jack of all trades, so to speak, kind of my whole life. I think growing up at the theater that I grew up at, lived in the artistic director's office as a kid, so I kind of always soaked it up as like a sponge. And really, like, I just have a quest for knowledge. And I also don't have a fear of, like, if I don't know how to do something, like seeking out how to do it and not being afraid to say, hey, I don't know how to do this. And, learning along the way. I will say I am the rare bird in that my math brain works on par with my artistic brain. And
Oh, wow.
that's
Good for
an
you.
unusual, component that goes together. I think as far as being an actor and helping with wearing all those hats is, I'm very text focused, I think, as a director and as a teacher, because like that's kind of my approach to acting. I'm very movement focused as an actor, so that kind of is involved in kind of my directing. And I think because I know what it's like to be on the other side of the table, I think that's how I approach the work, with tenderness and joy. And I think making sure, reading the room, and just small little touches, because I think about things as an actor sometimes. And on the producing thing, it's a funny thing, but like company housing, for example, we have a welcome packet when you come in, and when you move into housing, you have cereal provided for you, juice, some fruit, some snacks, some bread, chips, some wine, coffee, all of the first kind of things, so that if an actor checks into housing, they don't have to immediately go to the store. And so that they can maybe just get settled, walk around, to try to like make everybody feel at home, so that when they have that first rehearsal, we can maybe take the edge off a little bit, or give them some comfort. In my entire history of working as an actor, no one ever gave me that when I moved into housing.
Well, yeah, because it's not in the union contract, right? Like, I believe it's like you have to have like pepper and salt and like toilet paper, and like
just the basics. I was just
the basics.
I was just doing a guest artist thing last week, kind of as working at another theater, and like I didn't have any of those comforts, so I like took a video and texted our company manager, and I was like, I know that's so much hard work for you, but just so you know how much it is appreciated. So I think it's those kind of things is kind of how I approach kind of everything else.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's taking those extra steps certainly brings everything together a lot easier. It makes people feel welcome. It makes them feel valued, like everything that, you're taught in like a business class, right? Like, I didn't know anything about like business, right? Like it like wasn't a thing that I had on my mind. And it wasn't until I started to try to like produce and write and like try to get my own like artistic business side in order, that you realize that things like that are super important. Like small little personal gestures really change the whole landscape. Really taking the time to even just have like a conversation with a person over like being like, this is what you have to do for me, is a huge thing too. And I mean, I've gotten to like watch you interact with the people that you work with, and you excel at this. You are an incredibly powerful force in your role, but you are also very warm and very inviting. And from what I've seen, it makes people want to work really hard for you, and that's rare.
I try to be. I'm very direct in my emails, which I'm working on because I think in bullet points at all times. But I try to be, it's just, to me, making theater, it's a collaborative art form.
Sure.
It's very important to me at the theater. It's not Urbanite theater producing artistic director Summer Dawn Wallace. It's Urbanite theater.
Yeah.
Because everybody who is part of the team is part of making the art. When patrons come to see the work on the stage, every single person has had a little bit of a part in that. And so I'll never ask anybody to do anything that I won't do myself. I think I've learned with like COVID times and like have grown. I mean, I've made many mistakes as a producer. My God, I've made many in the quest of just trying to get the play done. But I've grown a lot. And I also, my new adage these days is I'm like, it's just a play. So I say that a lot. because I think when you're making the sauce, you can forget that. And I try to sense when I can keep pushing, when I can keep asking for things, when I can be like, it'd be great if we added this thing, but we don't really need to add that thing. Nobody's going to know that it's going to be there. And I can see that the team is a little stressed out. So let's not do that. Yeah. Let's let it go. Or if somebody's sick, that, the show does not have to go on, that's totally unnecessary. From Intimacy Land, I always say, no one's going to die if we don't touch each other today. Right. It's just a play. It's hard to remember sometimes. But putting art together, it's a play. It's joyful. It should be joyful, even when it's hard. We have to find the joy in it. Otherwise, why do we do it?
I mean, I can see why that happens, though. Like, I mean, to put on any show, to put on any play or make any movie or any TV show, it is nearly impossible to make it happen. It's this group effort that somehow happens.
Me every time. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, pulled that one off. It's here.
Yeah. It's like everything has to either go perfect or you have to be able to fix everything before it all goes to hell. So, so that type of locked inness can cause people to go fucking crazy. So I totally understand how that happens.
Being an artistic director, I'm really just chief fire putter outer.
Right. You're putting out fires.
And I try to foresee, I think this might be an issue. So I try to get ahead of it as much as possible. But yes. I just think I approach classroom work. I think I'm very, very aware in teaching, and as a director, that words have power. So I try to be very cognizant of, in giving notes, giving feedback, trying to find the mix of being a cheerleader and also pushing, actors that I'm working with, but also being highly aware of, kind of taking in an actor's fragility, and also working within that. Sometimes you just have to help pull the mask off, but it's a tightrope, and just making sure that actors feel cared for and supported and safe, so that they can, safe for who, it's a little complicated, but so that artists can do their best work. Is kind of something I strive for. So I think, because that's how I like to work as an actor, and I haven't necessarily had a lot of that in my career. So I think that's why I've created the space that I would have wanted to be in, and vice versa in the classroom. So I think that's kind of how, maybe coming from an acting background, shows up in my rooms most of all.
Well, that's great, because I was gonna ask you about kind of that next. I remember, especially when we were in school, you and I would have tons of conversations about how we were either underestimated or treated in specific ways because of the way that we look. Not for the same reason. I'm a large, hairy man, and you're an attractive blonde lady. But it was definitely we were outside of the box, and we always have been a bit. And I wonder how that has affected the way that you cultivate art spaces.
I mean, it's always this entire business is kind of navigated on what you look like. But yes, I look and I sound a specific way. I've aged out of a lot of it, so that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, had to fight for a long time to get taken seriously in my career. Had to literally build a theater to get taken seriously. And it was oh yeah, I guess she is smart.
I guess she has a brain in there. Weird.
Oh, strange.
If I only had a conversation with her once, I would know that she was extremely intelligent.
Yep. Yeah. And, even in the early days of being in leadership, people thinking that I was like the secretary of the theater. You know what I mean? It's like, it's bizarre. But yeah, having to kind of fight to be seen and to be treated with respect within my career. So it is something that's important to me to always treat everybody with that, and to treat everybody the same. I don't really get I never have gotten like starry-eyed. I'm like, are you a good person? Great. Can we work together? Great. What have you done? I don't really care. I got a job to do.
Right. Yeah.
That really means nothing to me. So yeah.
I mean, it's a testament to you and the type of person that you are, just because you could have gone a different way, like got into this position of power and just been a total piece of shit to people, right?
Yeah.
Like be
my DNA.
I know, but it's a thing that is natural, right? Like you've been kind of like shit on a bit, and you're like, well, now it's my turn, and you've never been that way. And it's aspirational, and it's why you're successful, is because you, in my opinion, is because you are so open and empathetic, even to people that may have not treated you the best. You bring them over to your side and convert them into allies, which is rare.
I try to, when you think about like what your life's purpose is, to me, it's important to be a good person, to be a good wife, a good friend, a good family member. But, kind of my philosophy in art is like, I want to always strive to, if I can make it easier for another person in any capacity to navigate this business in some way, that's what I want to be able to do. I started this theater company. It shot out like a cannon. It's led to me to be able to do so many things. It's allowed me to be able to provide employment for so many artists, to be able to it blows my mind sometimes, like the people that I have gotten to work with or who want to work at the theater or that I have on, speed dial.
Yeah.
And so for me, if I can do anything to help connect a person to somebody, to when I'm working with a student, I'm like, oh God, you don't know that you don't know this.
Yeah.
If I can make it easier for somebody else to navigate this thing called art, and to that their career path might be a little easier in some way, I kind of feel like that's my life calling. If I died tomorrow, I've done a lot of good deeds for young artists, and I'm good.
That's fantastic. So what I love about Urbanite and why it's so unique is that it's one of the few places where newer, more varied and explosive work has been happening since your inception. And I'm interested, how do you choose what you're going to put on every season? I mean, you must read hundreds of new works every season. How do you, what is your, how do you pick?
Great question. So Urbanite is, we're an intimate space. We have anywhere between 65 to about 81 seats, depending on the seating configuration, which we change around constantly. We do primarily focus on contemporary new work. Used to say within the last 5 years, but I have thrown that out the window. Because sometimes a play hasn't had legs, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So in terms of, I read a lot of plays. I get a lot of new work pitched to me. It's making relationships with playwrights. It's looking at other theaters that do similar stuff to us. It's artists. I get sent stuff all the time. Oh my God, I saw this. It's such an Urbanite play. It's really, I'm lucky in Sarasota that, Urbanite has always focused on new work. We get called the edgy theater, which I hate, because I'm just like, we're just doing contemporary new plays. Edgy for who? Let's bring that back. I don't really think we're that edgy, but okay.
I mean, I would say that you're edgy as compared to like a commercial theater space that's like doing like Bye Bye Birdie again, because people watch that show. You know?
No, I don't have to. An Urbanite patron is willing to take more risks. We always say the second act of an Urbanite play is the talk in the car or on the way home.
Sure, yeah.
Because like to do plays that make you think and make you feel, and also entertained, of course. It's harder for us for me to find comedies, to find a play that makes you laugh, but that you like think about, that you're not just like, ha 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 ha, that was great, but then you never think about the play again. That's a little trickier. So yeah, it's putting together a robust season of plays that kind of meets all of those things. And we're small, and so it's also like there's this thing called the budget. Yay. Any play that has more than 2 people in it, we're not going to make money off of it in terms of ticket sales, because we also believe in keeping tickets affordable and also pay a livable wage. So it's a really bad business model.
It's a hard balance. Yeah.
Really terrible business model.
Paying a living wage, it's a terrible business model.
I know. So it's like we want to make sure we pay our artists, and like that's where our money goes is actually as paying folks. Versus we have some amazing sets, but like it's really going towards our biggest cost or humans, which is where it should be.
Yeah.
So in terms of putting a season together, it's also making sure from the very, very inception is making sure that there's like equal representation on the stage, so that creating work where female playwrights are represented, male playwrights are represented, artists of color are represented. So it's not all shapes and sizes are on the stage. So you don't look up and, oh, this is an amazing season, but it's all dudes.
Right.
So that's
it's all dudes.
It's all dudes and all parts for dudes. So like that's also part of the puzzle. And sometimes I'm like, I really like this play, but I already have 2 plays by male playwrights, so I actually need a female playwright. So like that play will get shifted to maybe the following season or something like that. So
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
It is. So it is. So it's kind of part of the puzzle, and looking at plays that have more artists in them, doing it certain times of the year, because then housing is more available in Sarasota, because Sarasota is probably it's become one of the most expensive places to live in Florida, and it's on par with living in New York City or in LA or any major metropolis. So
right. And that was because of COVID, right? Because everybody kind of moved down there to do like remote work.
It's always been expensive, but it has, since COVID, has
shot up. Yeah.
Where the housing recession is like coming down everywhere else, it's kind of the opposite that's happening here. So that's kind of one of our hardest challenges is housing here in Sarasota. But I might spend an additional $13,000 per show just because I have to house people additionally to bring them in, because housing is extremely expensive here in Sarasota. But we can also do the type of work that we do because all of the other art is represented so well. So I can get away with, I feel really lucky that people subscribe to Urbanite and they have no idea what the shows are.
Yeah.
They don't know the titles. They don't know what they're going to see. So an Urbanite patron is, I would say, a risk. They like Chicago storefront, off Broadway.
Yeah.
They're looking to be challenged a little bit. I do
love your space. Like
me too.
As an audience member, it is it's really spectacular to watch a show in your space, because you're basically like sitting next to the actor
in the play.
Yeah, in the play.
It was really funny. The play that we just did, that just closed, No One Is Forgotten by Winter Miller. It takes place inside a prison cell, and the audience was really, really close, and we tiered it. So the audience themselves were kind of like voyeurs. And it was so interesting to watch patrons, because we were in the round. And so I loved watching other patrons' reactions, where the actor would be like right next to them and they would just be like, I can't look at you. So they would be like looking at the floor, or like, it was really funny to watch uncomfortable patron behavior because they just could not take how close the actors were to them. It was very funny. I was like, but that's why you bought a ticket here. Why did you sit on the front row?
Why'd you do that? Yes. What I think is cool about your space, and please don't take this as an insult, because I don't mean it to be, is that it's like watching a film. Like mm-hmm. It's that intimate. You're that close. Like, mm-hmm. and it's so cool to see a piece of theater in that way. You know, like you don't normally see it like mm-hmm. that when you're not in a classroom setting. So
I would say that as the part of our secret to our work is you cannot hide in that space as an actor. So it requires emotional truth and honest acting. You can't BS at all, because you are so close. If you push or you fake in any capacity, it rings really false very, very fast. And so cool. It's a lovely space to work in as an actor, because you do have to have extreme vocal energy and vocal clarity, but like you don't have to use a lot of volume. In fact, we always have to be like, pull it back. They're just the amount of times I say in our space as a director, just talk to your partner. They're right there.
Right. You don't need to project.
They're right there. Right now you're talking to somebody who's across the street on the other side of the building. They're right there. Just talk to them. Just try to reach them emotionally. Don't push vocally.
Yeah. Does everyone know who you are in town? Like, are you like a local person at this point?
Sarasota famous.
Yeah, like Sarasota famous.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. I have become Sarasota. Ooh, look at me. It's like nobody knows who I am, and I'm also Sarasota famous all at the same time.
Yeah.
It was really funny because lately I've been more recognized from doing Jennifer Who Is Leaving than I am the artistic director. So that's been really funny. People have been like, oh, I saw you in that play. And then it freaks them out because we were from Boston and I don't sound like that person. So like,
they're like, oh my God, you're like an actor? Weird.
Yeah, I get really confused. But yes, I have become Sarasota famous, which is kind of bizarre.
So from going to school in that town to now owning a business in that town.
I don't own it because it's nonprofit.
All right, it's nonprofit. So to being the steward of
I need all of your donations. Yeah. No,
yeah, she needs money, everybody, please. It's so I loved being there. Like, just it was a great time of really like a lot of great bars, a lot of really great restaurants, a lot of awesome memories. How is it changed for you from like being there as a student and as like a sparkly-eyed actor learning to being like kind of like a badass in town, like running shit?
Well, Sarasota has grown so much. It's really become a totally different city. Yeah, I hadn't intended to, make Sarasota my home, but just thought that the theater could work here, and it has, so now I'm going to be announcing season 12 shortly, which is very, very exciting. But I think that's how I've always operated. I'm somebody who tries to make the best out of every opportunity and to seize the day. And I'm not a wait for the phone to ring kind of person. And so I like to always keep growing and challenging myself. And so have kind of made my home here, and getting to, work with the rep and work at other places around town to me is also like really important. It allows me to rub elbows with other artists, see
Sure.
what they do. It's so nice just to walk into a show and be like, I don't have anything to do with this except for I'm going to choreograph this intimacy moment. Don't care how the set gets here. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's really nice not to have that pressure. And that just kind of grew out of, I think, leading the company, building the company, having a lot of knowledge, and just kind of being tapped for. There was for a while when anybody was having a crisis, like I was the person they came to ask questions. Like,
oh, interesting.
And so, and then coming out of COVID with producing theater, and I started to tackle on more training for myself, because I found that artists mentally we're in a different place. So I was like, wow, I'm not prepared for this. So, and in the classroom. So I was like, I need to, when I can fit it in. So I was doing a lot of work, kind of taking mental health coordinating classes and things of that regard, just so that I could have an additional skill set to kind of navigate what I felt was like needed. So,
right. Because the industry and the education of artists changed dramatically
Totally.
From when we were coming up in it. Like, it was mostly pain, like pain and like.
It's funny. I feel like I straddled both worlds.
Yeah.
I had weigh-ins in college. Like, I don't think those things exist anymore.
No, definitely not.
It's totally, you would just get yelled at, and I'd be like, okay, so I work so differently. But I don't know. I think just have used the skill set that I have to my advantage to carve out a niche for myself. And I'm also a workaholic. So I feel really blessed to have made a home here and to get to do wear the many, many weird hats that I wear in town.
Well, yeah, I mean, every successful person that I've spoken to, been around, everyone says the same type of thing. I'm just a curious person. I like to learn. I like to improve. I want to change things for the better. Blah, things of that nature. It's a common trait, and it's a common set of goals. And it's an interesting thing to see it just kind of being kind of like across the board. So, and it takes a very particular type of person to want to do those things and to want to achieve in that capacity. So, and you said you had always been that way, but was there a turning point? Did you make a choice at one point that this is you might have been going in this track, but there was a hinge point? Because there was for me, but I'd like to hear yours if you know what it is.
I mean, kind of. Going back to graduate school originally was it was also the recession. So it was a great time to go back to school, but it was just trying to maybe redirect or thinking about the future. But really it was, I think truly post-graduate school back in New York City doing the thing. Had been at auditions all week, and I went to an EPA, and I don't think I had my time slot was at 4:45 or some nonsense.
Yeah.
And I felt sorry for the casting person on the other side of the table, because I was I was brilliant, but they were so tired. They'd been there all day.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I was taking the train home, and the train was so crowded that I was I'm just going to get off way early. I can't do this. And I was, walking back to my apartment, and then the thoughts in my brain was God, I'm in this exact same place. I've been this has got to shift. And so that was kind of when I was yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go start a theater in Sarasota. And so that was kind of the directive to kind of step out and make a different move. And everybody thought I was nuts. You know, I was going around town with little pieces of paper being like, this is what it's going to look like, you know?
Yeah.
And it went from, you know, renting out a storefront to like making the right connections and building the theater. And so it grew to even a bigger dream than I had ever anticipated. But that was kind of I think it was kind of just that day of being like, I've been on this journey of, and I was an older graduate student, you know, I had already been out in the world for like 10 years prior to going back to graduate school. So
right.
I felt, and then went and took a crazy job on a cruise ship to pay off graduate school. And so then I was like back auditioning, doing the thing. And I was just like, oh my God, the needle hasn't moved.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in this same exact spot. So I was like, okay, the only way this is going to happen is if I make it happen for myself. Because I have the talent, I have the know-how, I just need a little bit of luck. And so I was like, I think I'm going to go after it a different way.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of, I think, the big shift for me was redirecting, taking charge of my own career versus just auditioning.
I think that's the thing. Yeah. Like, no, but seriously, like, and it's a thing that most people don't get an understanding of, or even have the bravery to pursue, is like, just you can get caught in this audition cycle where, you know, like, you're doing really great, you're doing great work all the time, you're doing great, and you just keep working hard, and it's like, yes, you should work hard, and you should try your best and do great work all the time, but you may just be spinning in a circle doing the wrong things while also doing great work. And unless you like break out of that thing, you may never see success.
And even then, I mean, this business is so fickle. Even then, I think part of it is, and I think also during COVID, why I flourished is I have always, from, I don't know, even since I was 10 years old in this business, I've always had a healthy relationship with self, in that whether or not I booked something or whether or not I got that thing had nothing to do with me as an actor or like my talent or my personhood. So like, an artist is part of who I am, but it's not all of who I am.
Right.
And so if I didn't book that thing, it wasn't like that meant I was a bad person or I wasn't talented. I just was like, wasn't right for it. So I think that has helped me along the way.
Yeah. For me, it was, I spent a long time believing what people said I was. Like, this is what you can be. This is the types of things you can do. This is what you can't do. You can never do this because of X, Y, and Z. And I just kind of made that my personality and moved forward for a long, long time. And it didn't work out a lot. I mean, it exploded in my face a lot. And it wasn't until I just kind of like radically accepted who I was and what I actually wanted to be doing, and what made me feel good, and I'm going to pursue that. And that also included like being a writer and being a producer and like wearing multiple hats too. Like, now I'm doing this fucking podcast. like it's just like doing a lot of different things, and just being okay with things that maybe people didn't think were going to be okay moving forward. And like my stutter, like my fucking speech impediment that I've had for my entire life that will never go away because it's a disability that I have in my goddamn brain, that I was told over and over again for my almost my entire life that I would never work. No one would ever work with me, and that I couldn't do anything. And it wasn't until like a bunch of really shitty shit happened because of because of me having a stutter that I moved through it and was like, I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. This doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to be accepted for who I am because we are in the arts where people are supposed to be accepting people for who they are. And once I was like, I'm okay, let's fucking go, that's when everything just, my mindset changed. I became a more positive person, you know, like everything just was like click, 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 click. It just clicked into place. So yeah, like what you said, like you just were like, this is me, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. It makes sense.
I was like, I'm just gonna have to do it myself. And so I did, and then it was like, oh yeah, she can act, she is smart. I was like, yep,
yeah.
Was the entire time.
Yeah. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself.
Yeah. Which I don't know. That was just, I think even that's just something as a kid, because, you know, my parents, my mom loves me. She's wonderful, but like nobody was like wanting me to be in this business. And you know, I've always had to like figure it out on my own, kind of just life and this business. So I think in a way it's made making this thing a little easier, because I'm just like, I'm like, well, I got to figure it out.
Yeah, like it's a puzzle that you need to solve. Yeah. Well, can you give a little like sneak peek of what's coming next season? Like, you don't have to tell me what it is, but can you tell me like what color it is?
I'm very excited by next season. I always think this is my favorite season ever. I've like said that a few times, but no, I'm really excited by our upcoming season. Because this season or past season has been so big, I've been going kind of a little smaller for this season, or season ahead. So one of the plays is something that we have done a reading of that I have like really wanted to do for a while. And so like now is the time. I'm very, very excited about it. I think it'll push some buttons in Sarasota in a positive way, and in a way that I like. People are coming to see a play, and then I get sneaky and they're like, oh, I didn't know I was seeing a play with that. And so it will inspire empathy and hopefully change.
Which is the purpose of the theater,
Which is the purpose of the theater. Then we have a thriller that'll kind of be next in the lineup, which I'm very, very excited about. Then we're doing a play that had been a part of one of our New Works Festival, which is really, really exciting. And we may be dabbling into a play, dipping our toes into, it's not a musical, but it's a play with music.
Oh, cool.
That one I'm kind of still in negotiations with, but it's going to be a very dynamic, exciting season of new work and plays that hot off the presses.
Nice.
And, you know, we kind of dabble back and forth between doing world premieres and also kind of second and third productions of plays. So that will kind of be us in next season, because sometimes, you know, that play, it's great. Everybody wants to do the first, but nobody wants to commit to do the second or the third or the fourth. So the play can keep on growing. And then I'm kind of already in process working on a play that I want to be as part of a world premiere. I hope that will be part of our 26-27 season. So I'm kind of already thinking ahead, which is really exciting. So
do you get a lot of pushback for things that aren't like, that people don't quote unquote like if you're talking about like trans issues or people of color, or
sometimes,
because
but I
of
don't
where
care.
you are.
Sometimes, but I don't care.
Right. Good. Yeah.
And I can only say that because of our size. You know, I'm not trying to fill a 350 seat theater. But sometimes, you know, I will say the last show, No One Is Forgotten, that one really struck a chord with folks. People either really loved it or hated it, which makes me know it's a great play.
Yeah.
So folks that hated it, it's because there was, I think, an intense love scene within it. So, so every once in a while we'll get some pushback. But that's because we're in as philanthropic, as arts centric Sarasota is, it's still a very conservative community.
Sure.
And we don't do conservative work.
Right.
We don't do anything just for shock value. It's high storytelling. And I just take those complaints on the chin. We're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but you can go down the street and see a show that doesn't make you think or feel.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, and that's not a bad, and the thing is, that's not a bad thing to just be entertained and have a great time, and something that's just totally safe is a lovely night out. That's great.
Yeah.
That's totally valid. But if that's what you're looking for, we're not going to necessarily be what you're looking for to do.
Yes. I personally believe that art, and specifically theater, is supposed to challenge you to think and feel in ways that you maybe haven't before. So to me, that's a wonderful night out at the theater. But people just want to go see a nice musical or something,
which is totally valid. And I don't judge, because you don't know what's going to make people think and feel.
Right.
I always think back. So I did a production of Always Patsy Cline many, many moons ago. And I had I played the character Louise, who's kind of like the comedic human within the show. And I had a woman come up to me after the show and say to me, I hadn't laughed in a month because she'd lost her sister and her husband.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, wow, that's what's theater for. Never in my life did I think that I was going to change somebody's day by doing Always Patsy Cline. So you never know. But we do get some pushback. But we're also the most progressive theater, I would say, in town, and we got a lot of complaints. People were like, I think the sex scene in the play embarrassed them, and it made me laugh. We embarrassed the audience, and I was like, well, there's content notes warnings on the website, in your ticket reminder, in the lobby. You were embarrassed, but I think everybody else was okay.
I think it was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it'll be okay. Does it come up when you're trying to raise money, or is it why people want to fund you?
Both. Both. We have very loyal patrons. We have very loyal subscribers. I feel like we have the best donors in the world, that support the type of work that we do. I would say, but there's a lot of folks who don't donate to us because of the work that we do. It's really hard for me to get sponsorships from businesses.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Which is kind of silly. We're also small. We're not as splashy. I think sometimes also, everybody, in terms of donors, people give for different reasons. People give because they really like the work. They give the art. People give because they want legacy. People give because they want to put their name on things. People give because they like all the splashy perks. So people give for different reasons. So, at Urbanite, there's not a lot of fanfare. You're giving because you're really supporting the next generation of theater artists. And if that's something that you believe in, you're going to give to us.
Yeah. That's important.
Mm-hmm. If you want your name on the building, I can't do that for you.
Right. But if you want to, I guess.
I put your name on a poster, but
well, because you're really helping to shape the future of the art form when you're working with a place like yours. I'm just saying. So if anybody wants to shape the future of the art form, you can go to
the art form, not just theater, the art form.
You can go to urbanitetheater.com and
yes. And now that all the funding has been cut, please give us cash.
Yeah, I mean, did that affect Urbanite?
So we've been affected in a few different ways. We'd applied actually for our NEA grant for the first time, and then the rules got changed to it had your grant couldn't have these initiatives. Then I was like, oh yeah, screw that.
Yeah.
And then
we won't be able to make anything.
One of our other grants, kind of the funding has been cut in half because of tourist stuff, but it feels like I'm like, is it tourist stuff? And then like other grants that we used to receive, we didn't receive. I feel like it's content related, so it's a little hard. Being kind of the rebel rouser, it does affect funding. So it can be a little frustrating. I'm not gonna lie. When you see other arts organizations being funded in such huge capacities, and you're like, I thought you weren't funding theaters, but how come they got a grant?
Yeah.
I wonder what it could be. Could it be? I wonder.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a rocky ride for, I think, the next couple of years. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, I think you'll make it through.
We will.
Yeah.
I've made it through red tide, COVID, so many hurricanes.
Hurricanes, yeah.
Even count. We had 2 hurricanes during trying to get one show up this past season. So we can do it.
It's wild. All right. So we are about to crest an hour. So what I like to do is ask people who are operating in our industry at a high level, like you, for the new generation of artists that is currently graduating into this environment. It is totally different from when we entered. Mm-hmm. What advice do you have for them? How do you navigate it now? It's a different world. It's, things aren't in person as much. It's a lot of tapes. There's a lot less opportunity to meet folks, to do a lot of networking and things of that nature. How do they break in?
Okay. It is a different industry. You used to have to sing, dance, and act. Then you had to sing, dance, act, play a musical instrument. Now it's sing, dance, act, play a musical instrument, be a YouTube fight / Instagram star, and cut, splice all of your own video. So the parameters are still just as hard. But you still it's you yourself are your business. And I think that's how you have to think about it. And I say this to students all the time, that sometimes there's just natural ability. Sometimes like you need a lot of luck. Sometimes you need all of those things to come together, but like when luck strikes, you have to be ready. So while sometimes it takes tenacity, it takes all these things and hard work and this, but when luck comes, you've got to be ready. And hustle and talent, I always feel like the hustle, here's like, your little ladder, you're like natural talent and ability, and the hustle,
it goes further.
You're going to sweep right past that person. You have to keep, not to use a racing metaphor from running, but I will from my marathon land. But most people will quit before you actually get on the course. The second it gets hard,
people leave. No, it's true.
You might go to 100 auditions and get 100 no's. You might have to go to 1,000 auditions and get 1,000 no's. Like, you just have to keep at it. And keep at it, keep around it, keep trucking, keep at it. There's going to be times, even when you're at the most successful, you're at the peak, you're at the top. And then you're like, oh my God, am I ever going to book a job again? And you were just doing this amazing thing, and now you're I always say, like, you were on Broadway and now you're in the church basement. Like, that's just like, that can be the nature of this biz, but it's your career and it's you carving out also the path that makes sense to you. Like, what makes you happy. It doesn't have to look like the other person who went to school with you's path. You know, it's your path and what you need, but it takes hard work and you just have to keep at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the statistic is that the average actor quits within 3 years. And at that point is when you will just begin to get your first audition for a thing that you really kind of want to do. And if you quit before that opportunity comes, it'll never happen. But 3 years is a long time, like, especially in the beginning.
It is.
But
it's 3 out of maybe 40 years.
Right.
You know,
it's 3 years out of your entire life.
It's a blip. And the thing is, it's also like, use your connections. It's like, make the most out of every single opportunity.
Yes.
It's, you know, for those of you who might be in graduate school right now, it's like, if you don't get cast in that thing, it's like, yeah, but who's in the room of that thing? Who can you make an impression on? So when you're auditioning for that thing later down the road, you can say, hey, this is Summer, you know, just to try to, like, get in the room, you know.
It's not about the result. It's about the connection that you make for the future.
Yeah. And also, like, be a well-rounded human. Go see plays, read plays. And the biggest thing is, it's just don't, it's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I'm still hustling. I think that's why I'm afraid to say no, because of the drought may come. I'm like, I get asked to do things and I'm like, I don't have time to do this. Okay, I'll figure out how to do this. But
no one's okay sometimes though. Like, I remember my oldest daughter had just been born, and my agent called me and said that they had an audition for me and I had to do it right now. And I said, I told you I'm watching my child get born. I'm not doing anything for like a month. And they were like, oh, but you know, I thought you would say yes because it's like 2.5 weeks on a movie. And I was like, no. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, they can offer it to me and I'll do it in 2 months when it's being shot, but I'm not giving them I'm not doing an audition. I was like, do you want me to shoot it in the hospital? Do you want me to go get a nurse to be my reader and to hold my fucking phone? Like, I'm not doing that. So
no. That's definitely a no. No, I guess my advice is just to, you know, keep on hustling. Don't quit the second it gets hard. You know, maybe that's why I can also run marathons. I don't know. Like, when it's kind of having that mindset. Just when it gets hard, you got to dig in.
You got to push through it.
You got to
push harder.
You got to dig in.
Hell yeah, Summer Dawn.
You got to dig in.
You got to dig in. You got to push through all that pain to get to the happiness.
But you have to find the joy in it. And as I said, you got to separate that, like, whether you booked that thing doesn't mean you have to stay on the course, dig in, and you have to separate that, do your job, also be prepared, do the work, have put in some effort. But you have to also separate for yourself that, you know, auditioning is also your job. It's like brushing in the teeth. You just got to do it.
Yeah, it's an autonomic thing. Like, it's like
you have to do it.
Or breathing.
Use that audition as an opportunity to, like, perform for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
But whether or not you ended up booking that thing doesn't mean that you don't have talent and that you're not incredibly talented, and you have to hold on to that. Maybe it was because you're too tall. Maybe it's because you're too short. Maybe it's because it was already cast. Maybe it's because the director really wants to use this other person. Like, you have no control of that stuff. But what you do have control of is the work that you put into something, how you present yourself, prepare for the material, go in, make choices. Great. Forget about it.
some of the best work I have ever done is things that only my like manager and a casting director will ever see, and it doesn't go any further than them, and they try really hard but it doesn't go anywhere, but that still was incredible work that I did. And yeah, sometimes one other person watches what you do and they think you're great, and that's as far as it goes, and that's important too, because nobody could see it. So yeah. Yeah. All right, well, it's been an hour, and thank you so much for being here. This was an incredible conversation.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is really fun.
Good, I'm glad. And everyone go to the Urbanite's website. It is linked everywhere that you are watching this. It is below the video. Just click on it, go to Sarasota, eat some food, see an amazing show.
We also currently, I can do solicitation if you're a female playwright. We're currently seeking plays for a Modern Works Festival. Go to our opportunities play tab. Just submit your plays. And then also, if you are a performer, get on our audition sign-up list, because we will be doing auditions for next season soon, and we hire folks from out of town.
Hell yeah. So go do that. Go there now or later or whenever you're watching or hearing this. All right. Thank you, Summer Dawn, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here this evening. What was that? You're a professional photographer in New York City. I would love to take portraits of you if possible. Sure, Jose. I like pictures. Shoot me an Instagram message, and we'll try and work something out. Thanks. Thanks for being here. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're watching on Instagram, thank you for watching. I mean, we are up to over 25,000 folks. I cannot believe there are so many of you, and it keeps growing. Thank you for your love and all of your support, and for watching me do all my crazy shit and things of that nature. Thank you. Thanks for watching on Facebook, and if you're watching on TikTok, I'm still really new to TikTok. I'm very happy to be on it, and I'm happy that you're watching me. I don't know what you're supposed to do on it. There's like roses and other bullshit. If you want to like send me something, or just come back next week and watch again. But thank you, and I will see you all again very soon. Good night.